Welcome to episode 241. Today I am joined by my friend and fellow audiobook listener, Classy. Don't miss this candid discussion about the book Broken Things by Lauren Oliver. Stay tuned. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. Hey everyone, I am your host, Tamara Ford, and welcome to Book Chat here on the Shelf Addiction podcast. Here on Book Chat, we get bookish with roundtable book discussions, book recommendation lists, interviews, and more. Be sure to check out shelfaddiction.com for even more content. Today is the very first episode of my new feature called Buddy Reads. This is where me and a fellow book nerd either read or listen or do a combination of both and discuss a standalone title. If you'd like to join me on a future Buddy Reads chat, feel free to reach out to me via the contact page on the Shelf Addiction website. This is a book discussion, so of course there is a spoiler alert in effect. If you'd like to comment on something you've heard during today's episode, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Shelf Addiction. The links for everything related to today's episode are below in the show notes. Hey everybody, welcome. This is the very first Buddy Reads that I'm doing, and I'm super excited because my friend Classy is here to talk with me about Broken Things by Lauren Oliver. Welcome, Classy. How are you?
I am great, Tamara. Thank you for allowing me to do a buddy read with you.
Absolutely. It's been a while since you've been on the podcast, so I'm going to let you reintroduce yourself to everyone listening.
Okay. My name is Classy. I am an avid reader, friend of Tamara. You mind if I kind of talk about how we met?
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so met Tamara at Book Expo, was it 2016, 2017?
It was 16, I think.
It was 16? Okay,
Yeah.
Right, because this is 18 and it was 2 years prior. And we were in the same hotel. And as Black women, whenever you see another Black person, you immediately try to make eye contact and see if she'll speak.
Yep.
The head nod, and we kind of chatted and talked, had dinner with some other ladies in the area, realized she was in Michigan, and we kind of hit it off, right? I think at the dinner, we kind of figured, hey, this is our tribe. No,
Yeah.
You know what? We hit it off at the fast round through, was it Reading Guide?
Oh, yeah, like the greeting guides, speed dating thing, yeah.
Right, the speed dating, because we were kind of like, oh, I like that book, and we kind of figured we have kind of similar taste. So after that, we exchanged numbers, and, I followed you on Twitter, looked at your website, and we kind of started, recommending books to each other. I loved your vibe. I loved your honesty, because you just came flat out and said, I just don't accept anybody to my Goodreads. So I was like, yes, I'm in for this. If she's going to be honest about who she accepts as a friend on Goodreads, this girl is all about the books. So
yes.
That's how I met you. And I had gone to the Book Expo with my book club, Mocha Girls Read, because I am a chapter organizer. I was a chapter organizer for my city in Illinois, which is no longer functioning at this time. So I do the Facebook group, and I do some of the author coordinating things. So I'm in that. I'm in a couple other book clubs. And right now, for the month of November, we are reading A Man Called Uva by Frederick Beckman. I think that's his name, or Backman.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very good book.
Isn't that the guy who wrote The Man Called Ove or something?
Yeah, and that's the book we're reading, The Man Called Uva. His name is Uva.
Uva. Oh,
yeah,
see? Shame on me. You must be listening on audiobook.
I am, because I called him O for the longest. And We were a little weary. The theme of the month was a book by a Swedish author, and we vote democratically, and that book won. I love Uva. Watched the movie on Amazon, subtitles and all. It is a great book. So, doing that, I'm in another book club. We're reading urban fiction, which is really not my forte. But again, when you are in a book club, you
Girl,
will
I know.
you will read books that you are not fond
Yes.
of. So
Yes.
we are reading Hood Rat by
Oh
Kwan.
God. Oh
Yes.
God.
Yeah.
I've been
So
there. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
yes. So like I told my fellow members, when I get into a book, I really kind of, and I didn't realize I do this, I immerse myself in the book. Like I just got finished reading the what was it? Duke by Default by Alyssa Cole.
Oh,
So
I heard
that's a
that's so
romance with a
good.
black woman. Yes. So you read it.
No, it's on my. I keep trying to get to it, but I keep getting distracted with other things.
Other
But I've
books.
been told by at least 5 people that I've got to read this book.
Yeah. So it's about a black girl who falls for a Scottish duke who doesn't know he's a duke. But yes, so with the Hood Rat book, I've gone hood.
Oh my gosh,
So
classy hood?
yes.
No.
I know. It's so sad. And there's like, so we meet this weekend, so I'm looking forward to that. So yeah, that's my little background of me and books. Um, it's kind of like your own little fantasy of getting outside of my everyday world. But I think the funny thing with this Hood Rat book is the writing style. You just think back to so many years ago. This was all the
Yeah.
rave, and now I'm reading this like we read this and
Yeah.
we really like this stuff.
Girl, yes. Like I remember we had a conversation about this like a while back. Like I used to read urban fiction like nonstop. I used to read so much of it and now I don't like
Right.
it. I don't like it anymore.
No, no. My girlfriend says she thinks she lost some brain matter reading this book.
Oh gosh.
so,
Oh,
so this meeting will be
yeah.
fun. So that is my introduction. Sorry I took so long. That's me.
Well, let me just say, I am super happy that I met you as well, Classy. You are the bomb. And we have a lot in common as far as the books we read. And we usually end up thinking similarly about the book. So I'm curious to see
Yes.
if we come out the same way with Broken Things.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay. So I guess we can start like high level. What was your initial reaction to the book after you read that last page?
After I read the last page, I was I can't say that I was disappointed because I became disappointed probably 30% in.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of at the point of, okay, this is what I expected. Um, I was happy though for Mia because she was, so-called Mama Mia, the timid one, and it seemed like she was coming around to herself. But if you've read any Lauren Oliver books before, she does kind of leave you with that cliffhanger
Mm-hmm.
um, kind of ending where the reader kind of makes their decision on how the book should end.
Yeah.
But this one was a tough pill to swallow for a Lauren Oliver book for me.
Yeah. So if you guys are, I should have mentioned this up front, but I forgot. If you are not aware, we do talk spoilers. So spoiler alert, just insert that. And if you don't know, this is a
Okay.
young adult mystery title. So on these chats, we do talk about anything. And if you're curious, you can just click on over to Goodreads. And I'm not going to read the description here for you, but it is a mystery about someone that was murdered. And these two girls are trying to figure out what happened to their best friend, amongst other things. So definitely if you've read Broken Things, this is the combo for you. So, okay, so Classy, you shared kind of your initial thoughts, and I guess I can kind of co-sign on that, but it took me 9 days to read this book. 9 days. And
Hmm.
that is such a long time. I put it down for days at a time. Like,
Yes.
I thought it,
I did the same.
yeah. So, okay. So when I closed the book, I thought, oh, that was a nice ending. But the process to get to that ending was kind of painful.
It was. It
So,
was.
yeah,
It could have. It could have ended like a while. Mm, so many pages in. It could have ended. Um, I really thought it was going to end after Miss. What was the teacher's name? Gray?
I'm not even
Was that
sure.
her name?
Don't, girl, don't give me the line. I
You
don't
know.
even know. I don't remember her name. And I just finished the
I
book
know.
today.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
But I believe it could have ended a lot sooner. Um, than that. I did the same as you did. I would read and then I took myself away from it, hoping maybe I just needed to, come back and get a refresher. I would read some other books, hoping, okay, I'm coming back with a fresh mind. Let's see what's about to happen, hoping something exciting would happen. And it didn't.
No.
To be honest, the most exciting part of the book probably, I mean, this is what a thriller, mystery, YA,
Mm-hmm.
story. So, those first couple of pages, I was in. I was like, I think what was the first line? 5 years ago, we were accused of killing our best friend. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
let's
Actually,
do this.
when I first started that, I got very strong vibes from Pretty Little Liars. Did you ever watch that show or read the
No,
books?
I didn't. No.
Okay.
I got the Slender Man when I first got it. I'm like, gosh, this reminds me of another story. And the more I started reading it, I'm like, oh, I remember. Remember the Slender Man story
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
where the young girls, it was a character in a book called Slender Man. They were at a sleepover, and they said Slender Man told them to kill their friend at the party.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
yeah.
kind of remember. Yeah, that's what I was, but no, I haven't read Pretty Little, I'm not read, but watched the television show.
Okay.
Never. So, but I remember, I know you are a fan.
Well, yeah, I was when it was on, but I definitely got those vibes just because, these girls are kind of, they've got their quirks. They had some, like, I'm not sure I'm a lesbian. They had the one friend playing with the girl's emotion, like exactly like the
Mm,
characters in the TV show.
okay.
So the one, like, mean, like, she's the nice, nasty friend. Okay. That's what Summer is. The deceased friend is like
Oh,
nice, nasty. And she is just
right.
like the girl in Pretty Little Liars. Like, she's friends with these other girls, but she talks crap to them. One girl is a lesbian and she knows it, so she's kind of playing with her a little bit. I'm like, okay,
Oh,
the characters remind me of that.
so in Pretty Little Liars, that was based on a book too, am I right?
Yeah, it was based
Or
on a
no?
book series, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
But I did not read the books. I only watched the show.
Okay.
So,
So that does make it kind of, and I get that some authors do, you know, follow, what is it,
it's like
the
with
kind of backstory from some other,
yeah.
authors and put their own twist in it. But from what you're saying, this doesn't sound that much different. And for them to use the backstory or trying to weave in the story of the way into Lovelorn, oh my God,
Yeah. Um,
that just blew my mind.
yeah, I did though. I guess if I want to say some things I did enjoy. I did like that there were multiple, we got Summer's point of view and Bren's point of view. I'm not Summer, I'm sorry.
Right.
Mia and Bren.
Mia.
So I like that we
Right.
got the 2 points of view. I don't know if I care too much about the then and now so much.
Yeah. I don't know about you, but at one point I couldn't tell the difference
Oh yeah.
between then and now.
Yeah.
Did you have that problem where it seemed like at one point everything was told at the same point of view where it really wasn't? And I mean, I knew it was a little flashback, but I don't know. The writing style didn't take me back. Sometimes with the then, I felt like it was still now. Or
Yeah.
I had a hard time sometimes figuring out the difference between Mia and Bryn.
Yes.
I yeah, it at one point, and I did the audio because I tried reading it, and then I just got too busy, so I did the audio. And even though I could tell the difference in the voices, the story sometimes I would have to go back and look at the chapter to say, oh, okay, so it's Bryn talking,
Mm-hmm.
not Mia.
Yeah.
So,
If they didn't, I mean, okay, so as a person that, we both read and listen to a lot of books, I find that when the author has to literally say Mia then, Mia now, Bryn then,
oh,
Bryn now, when you have to put that at the beginning of each chapter, I
right,
feel like you're not giving us what we need to be able to tell. And I've read lots of books with alternate points of view, and I never, well, sometimes you do, but sometimes you don't have to say, well, who is this now? Who's
right,
talking?
right, because it's so evident,
Mm-hmm.
and their story is, or you've bought into their character so much that you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know that this is Bryn, and at some points, only time I knew we were talking about Bryn, it was because either she was in the hospital, but once she came out of the hospital, then we were on an even playing field with her and Mia, except for when she would talk about her attraction to Abby.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, okay, we're talking about Bryn. Or her attraction to Summer.
Yeah, it was always
You know,
that.
right. And that was the only time where I could differentiate between the two characters because Mia was, it was a little one dimensional. She loved Owen and her mom was a hoarder.
Yeah.
That was it. I mean, and she did have that relationship with Summer, but Summer was mean to both of them in different aspects.
Yeah, like
But
she got with Owen, or she made it seem like she wanted Owen, but she did not really. She
right.
didn't. She just wanted to piss her
No.
off. And
Right.
she played around with Bren. She was like, oh, I mean, she was doing this like stuff that would make Bren think that she could possibly like her, like for real. And then she would talk mess about her, spread
Right.
rumors
And call
about
her,
her. Yeah, hot
right,
mess.
and tease her for being gay,
Yeah.
but here you are with the same tendencies because wasn't there, who was it? Um, was it Kyle? Whatever, the Moore guy, he was like, yeah, you turned her gay,
Mm-hmm.
talking to Bryn. So apparently Summer did have some type of, not some type of, but she had, she possibly was bisexual, I'll say. And, it was just it was and that's the thing, it's like, okay, it's YA, girls can be fickle, girls can be I haven't been a young teenage girl in a long time, so I'm not sure, but I just had a hard time with, okay, so is she not, and I know she's mean, and maybe she was in that self-discovery mode. And I think I might have been more accepting of that, hey, she's possibly in this self-discovery mode.
Mm-hmm.
But they almost, Lauren almost made it seem like she wanted to whitewash that. Like,
Like skate over
I
it,
don't know.
kind of.
Yeah, that thing. But Bryn was just definite. And I mean, even if I would have preferred her say she was, bi, than to just be a mean girl to your best friend who you definitely know loves you.
Mm-hmm.
She
Yeah.
definitely loved her with her whole heart and being mean.
Absolutely. And even with, I mean, okay, as far as like revealing Summer as bisexual, I she definitely had situations with that teacher. They implied that
Mm-hmm.
she did some things with that teacher the
Yes.
lady teacher. I can't remember. We can't remember her name.
Right.
But
Definitely.
again, I feel like why? I mean, if you're gonna say this woman killed her, you're gonna say this woman was obsessed with her. Explain like why. I mean, just because they were both, orphans? No. I mean,
Right.
why?
No, it was definitely more to it than that. You just
Yeah.
don't kill someone because you both, there was a love. There was
Yes.
some kind of connection between them besides being an orphan and besides her helping her rewrite this fan fiction to, the way into to Lovelorn. There was so much more to this story. And then for them to say Summer was giving them hints in the book that Miss whatever her name is was the shadow. I just got really confused at a couple points where I was. And I'm like, am I being judgmental because I've just kind of checked out? And
Well,
that's why I think I stepped away because I was like, maybe I've checked out. Maybe I need to come back in anew.
I feel like
And
the
I,
shadow did not come across as scary or as threatening as Lauren Oliver intended it. And I think, I
no.
mean, I hate to say like add another point of view, but had we got someone's point of view that was the killer, like
Mm-hmm.
inserting here and there, not long paragraphs, maybe, I don't know, a paragraph
Right.
of her looking
Right,
or
just to the
sneaking
point
or
of
something.
or watching or
Yes.
something because this is my thing. For you to say the
Mhm.
shadow is somebody who's creeping in the shadows, watching, and I never got that from the shadow. All we knew is that the shadow hurt, right? The shadow sacrificed, is that
Yeah,
right? Didn't the set
they had sacrifices to keep the shadow away.
right. And like you said, maybe another point of view, maybe from the shadow's point of view, even if it was just a brief little something before each chapter, the way she did with how she did little quotes from in the way into Lovelorn from Georgia C. Wells, where she would give little lines from the book. Even if she did that with the shadow, like you said, I think I may have the thriller part of this book may have stood out more
Yes.
because the shadow, whenever you think of a shadow, they're lurking in the corners or watching or over, they see everything, but we don't see them. And
Yes.
that's something that I think was missing
Yeah.
from this book.
I think that taking out, honestly, we didn't need the fanfic. I understand that the fanfic's purpose was to kind of give us clues as to who the shadow is, but I feel like they
Hmm.
explained that in the chapters. So I didn't need the fanfic excerpts. I would have
Right.
preferred the novel excerpts from, The Way into Lovelorn, and then blurbs or words from the shadow themselves
Right.
instead.
Yeah. I think that would have helped me. And I think too, maybe the category, because I think Lauren Oliver, if I'm not mistaken, this might be her first thriller type, mystery type book.
Yeah. Yeah,
I can't remember because
she's usually like, hard into fantasy. She's got YA fantasy down pretty hard.
right. So
Yeah.
this was just like a little stretch because I felt no thriller. Mystery, yeah. Granted, it was drawn out. There was some mystery to it, but the thriller part, and I can't remember if this was marketed as a thriller. I think it may have been, um, but I didn't get any thriller at all from this book, um, and maybe that's where she kind of threw in the sacrifices. I'm not sure, but um,
Even that was dealt with kind of oddly. Like they had one
yes,
scene with the whole sacrifice in it. It was a hot
right.
mess. It was like with some
It was.
crows and poor Mia's like throwing up, like, what are you doing? And Brent's like slapping Summer in the face, like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, oh my God, what is
Right.
going on?
I know. It
Mess.
was. It was like a hodgepodge of it almost felt like I don't know, like she was running out of time and it was like, okay, now we need you to hurry up with this book. And she's, oh, okay, let me throw this in there. Oh wait, it's a thriller. Let me throw in some animal abuse and some rituals and some, and, like the shed was. And I'm like, oh
Check the
my god,
boxes, right? Check the boxes for all the creep factor.
yeah, it was. It was just
Yeah.
way too much for me. And then, because you didn't do the audio, and one of my things that I marked, and correct me if I'm wrong, because like I said, I know I checked out every once in a while. So Owen, who is the love interest of Mia,
Mm-hmm.
um, I don't remember him ever having an quote unquote accent until he went over
Yeah,
to
he
Scotland to
didn't.
go to school.
He didn't. He
Right. So
came
this,
back with an accent, and even Mia called him out. She's
and
like, "This accent."
that's unreal,
Yeah,
except for Madonna. But
yeah.
anyhow, I digress. Only Madonna and Tina Turner can have, those accents after, being in America all these
And
years.
he wasn't
But
gone that long. Okay, it's been
no,
5 years since Summer was murdered. So he has not been gone that long.
no. And for you to have an accent like he had, especially in the audiobook, he needed to have been born in Scotland. From what I remember, and I may be wrong, someone who is listening to the podcast, please correct me if I'm wrong. But like, I have a friend who was born in Mexico and she came here. That's her native tongue. You know what I mean? She's grown up in that area. And even though she speaks English, it's hard for her to lose that accent because that's her native tongue from age whatever to 10. So for Owen to be
Mm-hmm.
what, when did they get arrested? 12, 13? And then you go over there for 5 years. And in the audiobook, he had
Well,
a
yeah.
strong Scottish accent. I thought he was Jamie from the Outlanders at one point.
It was that
Oh my
strong.
God, I
Oh my
had to tag my
gosh.
book because I'm like, I have to ask somebody else because there's no way that this boy who is from America, who goes over there for five, and I'm not even sure if he was there for the whole 5 years, but anyway, you're not going to have an accent like that. You just don't pick up that strong of an
No.
accent in 5 years. Because I was like, okay, did I miss something? Was he always Scottish? Was the parents Scottish? And I just didn't know about it. Because even you even have children who the parents have come from, I'll say Scotland. They're both Scotland or from Scotland, but the child is born here and they won't have an accent, even though they're in a home with someone
Right.
you know, who speaks that language. So yeah, that was one of my issues with the audiobook was, where did this child get this strong Scottish accent?
Yeah.
And I almost could have done without him, but I know she needed to divert our attention as who killed him. I mean, who killed Summer, and it was possibly him. But I was invested in anybody's role, in anybody's character, to be honest.
Honestly, I barely cared about who killed her. And
I know, I was too.
I mean, like, really. I mean, I was just going along. And I know the book only takes place, except with the exception of the end where they kind of fast forward a little bit. But the whole thing takes
Yes,
place over the course of a few days, but it
it
feels like
really
so much
did,
longer.
because I I think when did it hit me that, oh my God, it's only, oh, I know when it hit me, when the police officer came to pick up Bryn because she stole the phone, and he told her mom that she had was released like the day before, and I'm like, are you kidding me? It's only 2 days. Yeah, that's when it hit me. And like you said,
Yeah.
I felt like it was a whole week, but it wasn't. It was only a few days.
Mm.
And yeah, there were just some parts I was just like, really? Why did we go there? You just, I just lost like 10 minutes of my life that I'll never get back because you guys just sent me there.
Like, if you guys don't know, the hardcover is 408 pages. This was way
Yeah,
too
it really
long.
was. The cover was beautiful, which did not match
Yeah.
any of the girls from what the description. Nobody had
Nope.
gray hair or red hair, right? Everybody, it was blonde
Right?
and brunettes, right?
I don't I don't even know. I don't even know. I don't. And
Yeah,
I that sounds horrible. I know it
no,
does. But I promise you, like these details, it was just like skating on water. I mean, just like on ice. Like I just slid right
yeah,
over them
it was. It
because
was
they weren't
no,
impactful enough.
no. Like you said, at one point, I didn't care who um, killed Summer. To be honest, I really, I was really getting into Abby and Mia's mom. If we want to talk
Hmm.
about who I really enjoyed and thought, and Wade, I thought Wade was a hoot. He probably should have got more airtime, but Mia's mom, her backstory of how she started to hoard, I thought was very interesting because at first we thought it was because of, Mia's, um, being accused and her being ostracized and couldn't go shopping, and to find out that it basically started when the marriage dissolved, which the marriage dissolved before, I think, the accusation of murder. But those
Yeah.
little parts were like, I almost got a glimmer of hope, and then you went back to the story, which I mean that was the main story, but um, I almost think she could have weaved that. I don't know. I don't know. It did become hard. Those may have been the only 2 to 3 characters that I really cared about. Mia's mom, Abby was a little funny. She did get on my nerve a little bit, but um, and what was her purpose again? Oh, she was Mia.
She was Mia's friend, and she was like this like this
Right.
YouTube
Who
sensation.
was
I think she was a
homeschooled.
plus size YouTube famous homeschooled kid.
Pansexual, right? Was she
Um,
pansexual? Right.
Pansexual. I think that's what she
Right, that
said.
she was
Although
pansexual.
she'd never been with a woman, she just thought she might want
Right.
to.
Right. And that was it
Yeah.
and that's another thing because I almost felt like, did she use these characters and those characteristics because that is becoming popular now? And I won't say popular, but um
Yeah. Did she want that genre tag as LGBT or something?
right.
Did she want
Because it
that?
didn't feel authentic.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
and you know what? That's what
Yeah.
I think now that I say it out loud, that's it. It didn't feel authentic to me. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I've read a few LGBTQ.
QIA or something. I don't,
Right.
girl. It's so many
It
acronyms now.
is.
I don't know it.
And I've read a few of those books, or some
Yeah.
from that genre, and you can feel
Mm-hmm.
the authenticity and the realness
Yes.
of their struggle and their eagerness, or just that wanting to fit in, that youthfulness, or not youthfulness, but and that to be young and be different. Excuse me.
I just think we might not have gotten a lot about Abby in that respect because she wasn't the main character.
Who, Abby?
But I did, yeah, from
Okay.
Abby. But I do feel like Bryn, I do feel like she really struggled, not with being gay, not with being a lesbian, but she struggled because she wanted her best friend.
Yes.
Um,
Right.
so she was clear who she was and she didn't care,
Right.
you know?
And right, I did get that
Yeah.
from Bryn, but from Summer and from Abby, it was just
Mm-hmm.
it was like she just threw that in there and let's see if it'll stick, and Brent did have an attraction to Abby, um but yeah, I just felt like some of those characters were just kind of like, oh, let's give her a love interest, let's give this
Yeah,
one a love interest.
it's like because Mia had one, Bryn needed one. But I honestly didn't even think that Summer was even bi. I felt that she was just manipulating her. Like I
Ah,
did not feel that she actually
loved her or had a sexual.
loved her, like, or even, right. I don't even think that that was her intent. She just knew that, okay, this is how I can pull her chain to do what I want
Mm,
to do,
right,
what I want her to
right,
do.
right. Because when she came back after the boy broke her heart, she just, she basically needed somebody to talk to, and
Hmm.
she knew that Bren would be there for her, and like you said, yeah, she was very manipulative, very manipulative. Yeah, and mean.
Yeah, and I mean, and they say that you know, Summer, the deceased girl, she was the kind of person they loved her and they hated her.
Right,
They knew her and they didn't. It was like she wanted you to see what she allowed you to
right,
see. So I don't think they knew her very well at all, except for, I mean, people who barely knew her, like the bus driver. They were like, the bus driver was like, that girl's
she had
mean.
problems.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
she had problems.
And he could see that, and he didn't deal with her like that every day, except she was making fun of him every day.
Right, she called him what, faggot haggard, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, ugh. And then they were like, yeah,
Yeah, she's the perfect definition of a mean
girl,
girl.
yeah,
She totally just fits that through and through.
yeah.
Like, she's nice, nasty.
Yeah,
Nice,
nice,
nasty.
nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was, and I was just, I just had a hard time, like, trying to figure out. I know I've read a few people, um, who felt like they knew who killed her immediately. I really didn't. I don't know, like you, I wasn't sure if I really cared. Like, okay, let's who did it? Was it not the stepdad, the adopted dad? I knew it wasn't Owen. Um, I really didn't think it was any of the boys. I had no clue, to be honest. I did not think it was the teacher. I didn't even think about her anymore. So, and I'm like, and I read mysteries all the time. And I think that's probably what blew my mind. It's like, I read mysteries all the time and I could not figure this one out. Mysteries is my
Yeah.
genre, but I think
Me
I
too.
wasn't.
We both, like, look, we both can guess the ends, like, a lot of the
Right. And
times.
I was just like, maybe because I just was not vested in, like you said, I didn't really care who did it. Um, and she just had us going in circles. And I don't mind going in circles, but make it worth my time. And I felt like it was not worth my time. Um,
Yeah.
it just got to be drawn out. And 400 and something pages, yeah, it could have ended a lot sooner.
When it came to, I do want to kind of point out kind of the technique of Oliver's
Okay,
writing. Um, I do like, and honestly, there are not a lot of authors that write in first person well, in my
okay,
opinion. And she does it. She did okay writing in first person, with the exception of sometimes not being able to tell the difference between the two
right,
girls because they were too similar. But I think that that is only because she did not make us care about them quick enough individually that we could tell the
right.
difference. But her style in actually how she words things, and, it flowed, you know what
Yeah,
I mean? So it wasn't like her technique was okay. It was just her going deeper as far as making us care about them
right.
was kind of
You're
light.
right. I will agree with that. She does do a good job with first person and the character's thoughts. Because yeah, I did get to know, Mia, especially when she was in the mental institution, or was it a mental? No, the drug abuse home.
Oh, that was Bryn.
Bryn. Right. So
Yeah.
we did
Hmm.
get to know her there, and yeah, I would say that. But it did get to a point where I didn't care for them that much, and maybe she should have developed them a little more. Like you said at the beginning, maybe because she kind of went then and now. So then with then and now, it was more of the murder, not as much as the character. Am I right? Or
Yeah. Well, I think that she okay, like we've been kind of saying this whole time, the mystery just it wasn't
yeah,
there. The thriller it wasn't
yeah,
there. Um this almost would have been better. It's just YA fiction, like contemporary
right,
fiction about some mean girls.
yeah, and
Uh,
left out the mystery.
yeah, because it just wasn't strong
Yeah,
enough. In either, calm down on all the complexities of these characters, like all the broken homes and all the, oh, it's like you want us to care about the dead person, right?
right.
Or you want us to care about the other characters.
Yeah, you're right.
But
You're right.
it's like it's just
You're giving me
too
way
it was too
too
much.
much. Yeah,
Yeah.
in 400 and something pages. And that was the other thing for you to write all that in 400 pages, and I'm not able to get everything that you so call are laying before me. That is a lot to do
Hmm.
400 pages, and I'm not getting a mystery. I'm not really caring about anybody. Pick something. Pick two things.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I wasn't in.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of potential here, though. I felt like when I read the description, I knew I wanted to read it. I mean, the potential was there. I really wanted, like you said, that whole Slender Man thing. I feel like she was pulling inspiration from that, and she could have focused on that a little
Right.
more and less. She just didn't deliver, I think, what she
No.
intended.
Because when I think of mystery and thriller, and you read that, I'm like on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to get back. I want to know what's happening next. Oh my God. Oh, okay. You're just anticipating, and I did not get that. I didn't, my pulse, it was like nothing was on the edge of my,
Nothing
no,
jumped.
nothing,
Yeah.
nothing at all. And I'm
Yeah.
thinking the shadow, it, and I mean, even as a kid, thinking about shadows in like scary movies, and those movies now when I look back are not as scary, but like the vampire, and you could, you don't see the vampire, but you can see the shadow on the wall, and you're like, ah, I did not get that from the shadow. Um, and again, that relationship, like the other issue I had with, Summer being killed. Okay, granted, we figured out who killed her, but why did the teacher kill her?
She never really
No.
said, even in her okay, so like even in the little confession thing, I thought, I hope they have like a tape recorder on them
Yeah.
or they got a phone that's they're recording. They didn't do any of that. They just went to talk to this dumb
Right.
lady. And I'm like, that's stupid. And then it was
Yeah.
like, she never fully said, I killed her because of this.
Right.
So we didn't even get the ta da at the
No.
end.
No. And like you said,
It
it was
was
just
like, what was the
implied
point of
that
that?
they had some kind of
Yeah.
relationship that was unethical, unorthodox, because you just don't kill a girl. Because what did she say?
Mm-mm.
I can't remember.
She thought she would be, well, okay, she said, well, I didn't like what she was doing. She was doing things that were going to be bad for her. So she did say that.
Right.
And she said, I thought she would be better in Lovelorn. She would be better off there. So it's like she almost believed that that place existed and that's what she was putting her or something. But she didn't outright say, I sacrificed her to Lovelorn or
Right.
it
Yeah.
just,
Because I
yeah.
know at one point, not at one point, but I know Summer was saying she was trying to sacrifice something to the something so the shadow would leave, right? That's why she was trying,
Hmm.
and that's when Bryn told Mia to run or leave, because wasn't she like killing a cat? Was that what she? Yeah, she was killing the cat.
Yeah, which was
Right.
crazy. Like, girl, you crazy? You killing
Yeah.
cats? I'm like, oh.
Right.
And that's when, like, I think that was when Britain slapped her or
Mm-hmm.
something, and they lost it. They like, what are you doing?
Right. And then I
Ugh.
think that's when, which I'm not sure what happened. Did Mia just leave her there with the cat, and then Miss So and So comes and kills her? Those were my. And I know some things you leave up to the reader to figure out, but I just couldn't figure it out. My mind was just everywhere because I couldn't piece. The puzzle pieces weren't fitting, because I'm like, okay, so at one moment Bryn is there, Mia has run, so
Hmm.
so she's killing a cat. So did just Mia just say, "Forget it, you just killed the cat"?
Yeah, I don't, I don't know.
Because you remember
I
at
don't
one point
know.
Bryn says, "I need to tell Mia the truth," and I can't remember, because when she said that I was like, "Oh my god! So did she kill Summer? What's the truth?"
Oh, I never thought she
No, I
killed her.
didn't
I
either.
just
But when she
thought,
said, "I need to tell her
yeah,
the truth," what was the truth? Do you remember?
wasn't the truth that she wasn't really a drug addict?
Oh, maybe. See,
And I'm like,
see.
oh,
Oh
that's
my
so
God.
dumb.
See, again, that's where you have too many storylines that I can't. Oh gosh, that might be it. Thank you. See, I had all these notes and
Hmm.
some pieces where I just couldn't put things together. Yeah, that might have been it. That she didn't do drugs. That she had Wade peeing in the cup, or somebody from Wade's. Sorry, spoilers, spoilers, lots of spoilers.
Yeah, yeah. Um, yeah. There was a lot going on, and I didn't feel like Owen did it. I didn't feel like any of the accused did it. I didn't think they were hiding a big secret, and Owen's big secret was stupid.
Wasn't it?
Um, yeah, so his secret was stupid, Bren's secret was stupid, and then when it finally came out who the murderer was, I'm like, oh,
Right. The
oh,
teacher who taught everything. The
yeah.
teacher who taught, she taught band, she taught facts, she taught English. I was
She taught
right.
CPR.
Well, yeah, and that's facts. That's what like home ec kind of stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
she taught everything.
But yet nobody remembers her. She's so bland and
I was like, she was like a substitute teacher,
yeah.
wasn't she? Who taught like every subject
I
possible
don't
because somebody
know.
got sick and she took over that woman's place, and then she was helping the band.
Maybe she was the teacher that bounces around, I guess. But then they also introduced that it's possible she killed someone else where she
Yeah.
lived before. And then we don't even know, like, we know what happened to Mia after. We know what happened to Bren after. But, yes, we know what happened to the woman as well. She did something to herself. But I wanted there to be some headlines like, oh, we discovered this woman.
Right.
We know that she also killed these other kids or kid. We also, I mean, like, even after all the discoveries didn't even come out
No,
right, in
they
my
didn't. With
opinion.
the other band student with the French horn piece.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was odd.
Yeah. You keep a trophy from someone you murdered and then just move to a different town and just do it again. But what trophy did she keep from Summer? What was the trophy? Did she keep one?
I don't think so. The only way they figured, well, Mia figured out that it was Miss whatever her name was, is because of the carnation that she wore on her lapel at the memorial, and they knew Summer loved carnations. But that wasn't a trophy or a
Right.
ephemera,
No.
whatever they call them, that they take as a piece of something from someone you've murdered. I don't believe there was anything that she took, because there really wasn't anything that Summer owned, that, except for, they just talked about her clothing. I don't think, was there anything? See, that's, yeah, see, and and that's the thing, like some of the things don't line up. If you're going to take something from one person you kill, what did you take from Summer? It's not consistent.
Yeah.
I don't think she Summer.
Yeah, there yeah,
Yeah.
it's weird. It's very inconsistent. Either you're going to act like a serial killer or you're not.
Right.
Like,
Exactly. You kill one girl who was a like a prodigy, right? Wasn't she like a smart? She's like a really great.
mhm.
Wasn't she a great band person?
Yeah, I feel like it was something like that. And I don't even know, and we don't even know why she killed her. Like, what the heck
Same
happened?
reason why we don't know why she killed Summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then to throw in that she was from St. Louis, and you had the bus driver who sang the show tunes, and I was just like, it's him.
It's just
It's
all
the
over the
bus
place.
driver.
No, I mean, honestly, it was a fluke that they
Yeah,
figured out who it was because those clues were so
yeah. Like I
bad.
said, the only way it happened is that Bryn figured it out too. Right, Bryn figured it out. I can't remember
Yeah.
how Bryn figured it out too, but Mia had already remembered the carnation. I can't remember how Bryn figured it out, but
Wasn't it a letter there too or something? It was
yeah.
something there. And she picked it up and she was going to I think she was going to bury the book there or something next at the grave. Isn't that what she was doing there when she had her shovel and she was out there when she saw the teacher out there?
Oh, right. That's right. That's how Bryn figured it out.
It was a fair attempt. There was just too much going on. Um, so, there's, if you guys have like trigger warnings, obviously we've talked about animal torture and
Yes.
death. There were, some homophobic things going on there. There was some issues with being a lesbian or
Right.
whatever. There were some fat shaming things going on
Right.
there. And of course, you got the whole pedophilia thing going on as
Hmm.
well, somewhere in there. There was a lot of things going
Yes.
on, but none of it was actually interesting. Is that?
I know. It doesn't that sound really odd to say all those things and nothing was interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. And I hate that. I really wanted to like this book. I wanted to so
Yeah.
bad. I was so excited for it. And I just, I really felt bad at the end because I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to talk about this book
Yeah.
now.
And that's how I felt too. And I'm like, okay. So I was trying to figure out some of the things that I did like, and there was few and far between. Maybe a few characters, the beginning of the book. That may have been it. And I can't remember. And you said it took you 9 days. I can't even remember how long it took me because I did start reading, and then I couldn't take it anymore. I needed to, and not to say I couldn't take it anymore. I just got really busy, and I'm like, I need to chop chop and get this over. To get it done and at least get into it where I can feel like I got a groove. You know how sometimes you have to do that with the book? You're just like, okay, I just need to get in there. Get the
Honestly,
mo-
I'm not even positive that I would have completed this book if had I not committed to talk about it.
yeah. And I think that's why I needed to do the audio because I could not literally read it. I think that then and now portions were really just like you were saying, you have to tell me then and then you have to tell me now. Mm. And sometimes I couldn't differentiate between. I had to flip like, oh, and then I think that's too when I started going to the audio. But then even in audio, I had the same issue where I couldn't tell. They began to cross over the
Yeah.
persons. So
So, do you
yeah,
think there's anything else left that you'd like to comment on this book? Because I feel like we've complained for 50 minutes. I'm sorry, guys.
I know. I'm sorry, and I like Lauren. I've met her at Book Expo. Such a great personality. She's so friendly. Um, and that was my other thing. I was like, but I don't like this book. And that happens. I don't know. There's probably nothing else that I can say.
Okay, me either. So let's rate this thing 1 out of 5, no halves. Let's rip the band-aid off. Um, I'll let you go first.
Okay. A two.
Ditto. A 2.
And that was the thing, yeah. It was like 2, yeah, a 2.
Yeah.
And I think on Goodreads, I may have said 2.5. And the more I talked about it, the more I'm just like, no, it's really, there's no way that I can talk this much about it and say, and honestly give it a 2.5.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then I was trying to figure out, like, have I read any books like, now, have you, besides Pretty Little Liars, have you read anything in this same kind of storyline that may have done a similar, like a similar plot, but a better story?
No, I don't really read a lot of YA mystery thriller.
Okay. You do more fantasy, right?
Right. When it comes to that genre of mystery or thriller or psychological thriller, I tend to gear toward adults because I want the true crime feel. I want like a legit scary,
Right.
whatever. So
Right.
in the YA, I do kind of gravitate more toward fantasy and YA and not this. And maybe this is why, because it's softened for YA.
Yeah. And you know what? This is the thing that I thought of when I was reading. And I remember you saying this about YA when they took the trip to Maine in the car. All I could think of is Tamara saying, who does this? Where are their parents? What kid just goes on trips without their parents?
Like y'all
And
in
I was
high
like, this
school.
is, yes, yes. And I mean, granted, did they graduate? They were out, but still, all I could think of is with YA. I was like, oh, here we go. We're going to go on a trip in the car up to Maine.
No, the only one that had graduated was Owen. Because remember, Mia went back to school and Owen went to college at NYU.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So she was between her junior and senior year. The only
Right.
person that could have got away with that was Owen and Bren. And Bren
Wait.
only because her parents did not know that she was out of the
He was out. Yep. And I was like, oh, there's a YA trope right there. That's all I could think of. I wanted to text you so bad, and I was just like, no, I'm going to save it. I was like, they're doing it.
Yeah. Gotta love those YA tropes, right? All right, so I think we're going to just go ahead and stop there. We've had a pretty good conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. And I want to know what you thought. I'm sure, Classy, you'd like to hear what they thought of it as well.
Yes.
Yeah, leave us a comment either on the bottom of this blog post. You can find the blog post on shelfaddiction.com or comment on Spreaker or even tweet at me on Twitter at shelfaddiction. Classy, what is your Twitter handle?
Classy Green. ClassysYGreen.
All right, so get at us and let us know what you thought about the book. And were we way off? If you just love this and you think we are just full of it, tell us why. I want to know. See if you can convince me. You won't, but you can try. All right, everybody. Thank you so much, Classy, for being here. It's been a pleasure.
Always, Tamara.
All right, everyone. Until next time, happy reading. Take care, everyone. If you enjoyed today's book chat episode and would like to show your support, there are a few things you can do. Head on over to Apple Podcast and leave a positive 5-star review. You can follow me on Twitter at Shelf Addiction. Most importantly, you can share this podcast with friends and family that enjoy all things bookish, including author interviews. Thank you for listening, and until next time, happy reading.